victimize us, so I'm doing this. That's the only thing I can come up with that makes sense to do, because it's just a.
We're going to put you on our political panels.
Yeah,
now.
it's not a bad idea.
You just nailed it.
Like, you remember the back of the shirts for the Bad News Bears? They were sponsored by a bail bondsman. I agree that was the sponsor.
I mean, maybe he just didn't want to hand over his own money to
20 grand? But you're paying $2,000.
There are smaller fees that
Yeah,
come along to
sometimes you pay more than that. Sometimes you pay 10% of the bond amount.
Yeah.
It's a hefty fee.
But even to your point about getting off the plane and seeing the press running from one part to the motorcade, I mean, that's stuff that you really only see when it is the actual president. It's just not typical for a former president to have that kind of arrangement of a press pool and all of that.
By the way, when
the theatrics of it.
When he came down from the plane and he said something to the cameras we couldn't hear, he said, "Thank you very much," to the press pool.
He's used to coming off that plane and having people at the airport on the sidelines cheering for him and waving for him. That was typical when Trump was president. That's typical for most presidents when they land somewhere. It didn't happen today because there was really no one there except for the media. But Trump, in his mind, I mean, he's carrying this out like he would if he were still sitting in the Oval Office.
Right, except remember what he is right now. Yes, he's a former president, but he's a candidate for president.
Yes.
So it still happens.
The striking thing, though, is he's not doing it alone. He's doing it with the significant assistance of Fulton County authorities and, of course, the Secret Service. Now, they approach protecting him. They make their decisions about how he's going to be protected based on a threat assessment. And there may be threats that they're concerned about that we're not aware of. But I have to tell you, you don't see motorcades with parades of motorcycles this long when the President of the United States drives through Washington, D.C. This is really, I mean, if I lived in Atlanta, I'd have some questions for...
What do you mean, just because of the public expense? Because all this is not necessary?
It's hard to imagine how this is necessary. I don't know what their threat assessment is, and that's the work that they do, but this appears to be pretty over.
As a security matter, does it make more sense to have a smaller footprint and just have a car or two drive to the jail as opposed to a big motorcade?
It certainly can, right? Depends on the environment. Like, let's think about this as compared to Miami, we didn't even see barricades in front of the courthouse, right? He was able to pull right up. Of course, he drove into the building, similar to the way that he's doing here. New York City didn't shut down the perimeter around the courthouse where he was arraigned. So there are other ways to do it, clearly, other than shutting down the entire city, closing the highway, and using 50 bullets.
They made a big deal about the mugshot, the negotiation over the mugshot. It might have been a more interesting deal to say.